At the Robins Center here in Richmond, Virginia, for two schools from the Richmond area meeting on Valentine's Day. Chris Lewis, Coach Steve Lapis with you. It's the 97th all-time meeting between VCU and Richmond. They call it the Capital City Classic. And VCU off to the strong start, leading 6-3. But Mike Walls, who's a 6'11" big for the Spiders at the free throw line, connects on the first of two.
Yeah, these two teams played a very competitive game 2 weeks ago that I was at, and it was what Richmond did defensively. They held VCU without a field goal for 10 minutes. They just couldn't do enough on offense. Right now, let's see if they can run their offense in this game, if they haven't been able to so well. VCU
won that game you were referencing, 77-69. Had a strong first half, held more in check in the second. Evans bumped across the lane, no call. Hits the ground on his back, and here come the Spiders.
And both these teams will look to run, and both these teams have two of the best benches in the United States.
Both top 6 in the country in bench scoring. Tyne hit a 3 earlier on. He's coming off of a season-high 16 in the Richmond win against George Mason. Quick transition, and there's Terrence Hill Jr., who leads VCU in scoring off the bench.
This guy is one of the best three-point shooters really in the country. How about this guy? He's their leading scorer. He averaged 3 points a game last year in 6 minutes. Now he's really taking a big step in his junior year.
And has embraced that role as that 6-man scorer. VCU winners of 8 in a row. The second longest winning streak in the Atlantic 10 behind St. Louis. Again, Hill again makes back-to-back triples and lets the fans know.
And all this is coming in transition. That's how VCU loves to play. And they're a good half-court team, but they're at their best when they're pushing the ball up.
These schools separated by less than 6 miles. Already spicy in the early going. Hill with back-to-back threes on the last 2 possessions. This time dishes. Djokovic can shoot it.
And you know, Phil Martelli doesn't usually go to Terrence Hill Jr. this quickly.
Djokovic might have been bumped as he released it, and it sails out of bounds. Well, you're right, they bring in Hill, who's the 6-man scorer, about 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, which is usually they'll wait till after the first media timeout, but for some reason, and they were playing well, brought him in early.
Comes in leading the nation in bench points. Jonathan Beagle into the game for Richmond. The second big off the bench. Circles around Djokovic and lays it in with the right.
Really good footwork. He stopped, took a half a step, and took another step right to the basket. Really good move there by Beagle, who did not play in the last game against VCU.
Yeah, he averages about 15 minutes per game. Was unavailable for that prior meeting. VCU turns it over on the sidelines, which leads to the first stoppage. VCU Richmond meeting number 2 this season, alongside Coach Steve Lapis. I'm Chris Lewis. So VCU making a change, putting Terrence Hill Jr., the leading scorer in the country, off the bench into the starting lineup for this game. It pays off 2 early threes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not, they take a lot of pride in him being their first guy off the bench. And Phil Martelli's told me so many times this year that he likes having that kind of firepower off the bench because he feels like the other coach has to make an adjustment right away as soon as they see him at the scoring table. So that was an interesting change today for Phil Martelli Jr.
It's just his second start this season. The other game was just 3 contests ago against Fordham. And Phil Martelli Jr. put him in the starting lineup in that game and had one of his lowest point totals of the year, an A10 low 6. He already has 6.
I like what we've seen out of this defense for VCU so far.
Jaden Daughtry in off the Richmond bench. A Richmond guy misses a short jumper.
Well, how about Jaden Daughtry? Last game makes 3 threes. He hadn't made a 3 in 8 out of 9 games. He makes 3 the other day in that big win against George Mason.
He stepped out of bounds as he tried to save it, so it stays with VCU.
That helped, that call helped, because you shouldn't save the ball under your basket like that and throw it underneath the basket.
Atlantic 10 standings are right now that tier at the top. St. Louis, VCU, George Mason losing yesterday. So VCU 2 up in the loss column, 2 back of St. Louis. Hill again, front iron it off. Meanwhile, Richmond 4-8. They had a 6-game losing streak, but their game against George Mason, as you see Phil Martelli Jr., the George Mason performance for Richmond was their best game of the year. They led that one 31-9 in the early going.
Yeah, they were terrific in that game, up 20 at halftime.
Daughtry lost it in the lane. Bell scoops it up, falls to the ground, and gets fouled. Richmond led by Chris Mooney. It's interesting, when he entered the Atlantic 10, the longtime member of this conference on the coaching side was the dad of Phil Martelli Jr., Phil Martelli at St. Joe's, and now you have Chris Mooney, who's the mainstay of the A-10.
I mean, to be in one place 21 years, that is an unbelievable accomplishment.
Aiden Argabright, the last foul. 1 of 3 from Richmond, playing for Richmond.
And Aiden Argabright, one of the best freshmen in this league.
2 great freshmen, Nick Lewis on the other side. Ward from the corner has been playing a lot more over the last 3 weeks. Loose ball foul called on VCU. They get Bell.
Yeah, Ward, in this winning streak they've had, Ward and Michael Bell off the bench, who have been terrific for VCU.
And there's Bell, just a long wingspan of 7'1", a wing off the bench. Ahmad Noel, who's a shooter. And the bench players for VCU, they use a lot. Their minutes volatile back and forth frequently. To the rim, Argabright. And he'll head to the free throw line.
This freshman is going to be terrific. We have guys in this game that get fouled a lot. And Argabright, the freshman, is one of them. He's number 4 in the A-10 in free throw attempts, and you saw why. He can take that ball to the basket. He's been really good. He's had to fight with an ankle injury that he's had, but he's a very good player and a great prospect.
He returned from that ankle injury in the last game against George Mason. He had missed the previous 2 for the Spiders. Mike Walls comes back in, the starting center, replacing Beagle. Argabright's been named the A-10 Freshman of the Week 3 times. That joins Nick Lewis from VCU for the most in the conference. Yeah,
I mean, I would bet because of the year VCU's having that Nick Lewis probably has the edge in that regard, but it's not over yet.
Size mismatch. Hop step for Bell. And a step back. Barry Evans from the baseline.
I'll tell you one thing, you just look at Barry Evans and Michael Bell. These guys are so long and athletic.
Daughtry, that was off his body and out of bounds. He wants Coach Mooney to review it, but for now, a turnover.
Yeah, Daughtry in his few minutes here has not been great so far.
How about Evans? You gotta love that elevation on Valentine's Day.
Barry Evans, who came with Phil Martelli from Bryant, was an American League All-Star last year. Oh, that's a charge.
And you're on top of it. They get Ward. Transfer from LSU, a former 5-star prospect at the Matha Catholic.
I mean, this is really good defense. He sticks his arm out and makes it an easy call.
Argabright wanted to make sure everybody knew it was him who drew that charge.
I don't know why they get a raise if they take charges.
You can see that grin. Richmond 2 of 7 from the floor. The early going, down 5. Colin Tanner at 5.5 points per game. David Thomas. As the Spiders see the shot clock whittled down to 6.
Small team in the game, too, for Richmond right now. They got to go.
Thomas does go. Doesn't draw iron, and the ball ricochets out of bounds. Belongs to VCU. '97th all-time meeting between these two. VCU's won 9 of the last 11, including 3 straight. And the VCU 8-game winning streak, their 4th in a row. was against Richmond back at the Siegel Center. Barry Evans delivers that one.
Barry Evans just attacked Mike Waltz off the dribble there, and it was not an easy matchup for Waltz to be able to guard the athleticism of Evans.
And Evans bump against A.J. Lopez, the leading scorer for Richmond.
Yeah, A.J. Lopez has been really quiet in this game so far, and he was terrific in that first game against VCU.
Evans scores the hook, but commits the foul. That is his second. Now that wing position, VCU is deep, but Evans, who averages just a shade over 7 points per game. As you mentioned, Coach Lapis, he played for Phil Martelli Jr. at Bryant. He heads to the bench.
Yeah, one thing, when a guy gets 2 fouls in the first half for either one of these teams, he's not playing anymore because they're so deep, they don't really need to play him in the first half.
Argabright was the victim of foul trouble in these teams' first meeting. Only played about 4 minutes in the first half. Lopez defended by Noel. Beans corner, Miguel Tyne. Now 1 for 3 from 3. But Tanner, the hustle player in the starting lineup, scoops up the rebound.
Very active defense for VCU right now.
Step through move, Lopez.
You know, I've seen Djokovic in a bunch of games this year, and he's so good at staying with guards when they switch.
The versatile big on defense sets up this possession for the Rams on offense. And it's Ward who will head to the free throw line. Will Johnston commits his first. Make that his second foul.
It's really easy to switch 1 through 5 if your 5-man can stay with guard. That's the key guy. That's why a lot of teams only do 1 through 4, because they have a 5-man that can't stay with a point guard. But Djokovic, he can stay with guys.
So they moved that foul to Time, so that's the second on Time. Ward hits the first of 2, a 64% free throw shooter.
Yeah, Ward playing a lot more as the year has gone on. A really, really good athlete.
He had a stretch from mid-December to mid-January where he didn't play more than 3 minutes in any game.
The first game I had against VCU this year, he didn't hardly play. Then I saw him the next time. I was like, who is this guy?
And the talent oozing right off the screen.
A lot of talent.
VCU doubling Richmond. Argabright, great playmaker. Tanner off the dribble, shot clock down to 6.
Pretty good defense.
Djokovic might have tapped that one off the 3, short from Tanner.
That was a great contest by Djokovic there. You're right, Chris. He might have gotten a piece. Very good half-court man-to-man defense that time.
Ward wants 3, and give him all 3 of those. It took a journey around the rim, but settled in. It's a 9-0 VCU run.
I'll tell you who hasn't been able to do anything in either game is Will Johnston, who's one of their leading scorers.
All right, now the Spiders retreating defensively. Brandon Jennings. And that's Argabright pulling.
Yeah, Jennings, not his strength shooting threes.
Bell hacks. And the attacking Tanner. 11:10 to go in the first half, and VCU has settled here on Valentine's Day in Richmond. And fitting, no love lost between these schools, separated by less than 6 miles.
So is the red in the crowd because of Richmond or because of Valentine's Day?
I mean, I can only say my tie is a little, pink. Yours is red. That's because of Valentine's Day.
Mine is because of Valentine's Day specifically.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we're fitting into the right spirit. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there watching this one. Colin Tanner at the free throw line. He was fouled before the break by Bell. And connects on both. So Richmond already finds themselves down double digits. What are some of the things that they can do on this end defensively to slow down VCU?
Well, they've been all right when it's been in the half court. They've had their problems when VCU has gone up in transition. I mean, Hill's 2 threes were both made in transition. This is a half court. They do a better job in the half court. So they've got to keep it slow so that VCU doesn't get out in transition because they're so athletic.
We'll continue with the talking points with our fresh bet keys.
Well, VCU get out and run, which they've done effectively so far. Dominate the paint. They've been pretty good there, too. Richmond own the glass. Well, I'd like them to be okay on the glass. They've been getting killed on the glass in the Atlantic 10, and they need to make threes from the perimeter.
Talking with Phil Martelli Jr. on the VCU side, they say the thing that they've gotten much better at in this 3-week stretch where it's been all wins has been defensively. They're just much more connected. Hill, 2 hands on the body. He commits the foul on Argabright.
I'm seeing their pressure as being a lot better. Not that it hasn't been okay all year, but they're really putting a lot of pressure on Richmond and pushing them way out. And when you're running your offense 30 feet from the basket, it's really hard. I mean, and the other thing they've done against Richmond is, in the first game, I don't believe they gave up a backdoor layup. They haven't given up a backdoor layup so far in this game, and Chris Mooney runs that Princeton stuff because he played for Pete Carrill and runs it really well.
Well, the downside of the pressure from VCU, the fouls, so already 17 fouls. So the 1-and-1, and Argabright gets going at the line. Richmond hasn't made a field goal in over 5 minutes. They're just 1 for their last 11 from the floor, trying to hang in there here in this first half.
And a lot of good pressure on this possession by Richmond. I think they got to get Djokovic in the low post a little bit.
On the perimeter, setting a screen, aggressive roll, rotation by Daughtry. It's an offensive foul.
I'll tell you what, you don't see a lot of charges anymore by secondary defenders. And I think he's moving. I don't think that should have been a charge. You're going to see here. No, I don't think so.
I think it was still slided, did not clearly establish position outside that circle.
And with the new rule, you have to be in that spot before that guy plants his foot. That's why you don't see a lot of charges anymore. I don't know if that was a good call.
Well, VCU gets the stop on the other end anyway. Winners of 8 in a row. 2 hands on the body of Hill, so they get Daughtry. Second time Daughtry's been disappointed with a call. It's his first personal foul by Chris Mooney. We mentioned learning from Pete Carrill over at Princeton. Princeton alum, 1994. Spent a year coaching Air Force. And then the last 21 years on the Richmond sideline.
And he got the Air Force job with Joe Scott, who was an assistant to Pete Carrill also.
Daughtry, back-to-back fouls. He can't believe it. The guy who started his career at Indiana State. He played for Josh Schertz a couple of years ago.
I don't know about that.
You can see why he's upset.
Yeah, I mean, his left hand may have been on Djokovic's back, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, he's a big body, 6'7", 230 pounds, versatile, can shoot it. Well, he'll be on the bench with those 2 fouls. Djokovic against the reserve big and Beagle. It's up the hill to Parade.
Great back cut.
Tracy misses. You can see that Princeton style of offense, that big on the perimeter, lots of cutting around, and Beagle, oh, everything but the bucket.
Yeah, just wasn't able to gather it and go up strong.
Here's Nick Lewis.
Oh, that's good
off-arm
defense by Argabright.
Yeah, that could have been a foul on VCU. Ward, another 3. Again gets the shooter's bounce. That's 2 for Ward. That took a turn all around that iron.
Well, he can make them. He's capable.
Like a golf tournament here. Sometimes goes all around the cup and then drops in like that. 2 long balls for Ward. Argabright the answer.
They've done a really good job on A.J. Lopez so far in this game. He has not gotten a clean look yet.
Hill chisels. Djokovic thought about it. Tracy launches. Numbers for the Spiders. It was 3-on-2, but Tanner retreats. 8-10 clash between two teams here in Richmond. As A.J. Lopez, you mentioned, got to get him going. 13 points per game. He draws the contact and will strut to the strike.
Yeah, he had 17 in the first game against VCU, and he's a guy that's got to put up numbers for them.
Second foul on Ward, who has a team-high 8.
But you could see that Phil Martelli Jr. has put an emphasis on defending the three-point line, because Richmond, when they play well, they are making three-point shots like they made 12 in the last game. Now, so far, they're 1 for 8, and VCU's coming way out on the perimeter to make sure they don't give up open threes.
And it really does seem like this team has the athleticism and the connectivity that even if they push out aggressively on a closeout, they can recover with the blink of an eye.
And, you know, you think about it, Chris, the guys who are really Evans, Bell, Ward,
yes,
those three guys are so long and so athletic, they make things very hard for you.
Djokovic, too, who's great on the perimeter. Tracy, that time hits. He's a great shooter.
He is absolutely, he's their second best three-point shooter behind Terrence Hill Jr.
And he has size, too, at 6'6". Can shoot over a contest. Back up 12. Lopez, he wanted the whistle, wondering why it wasn't there. He's late getting back. VCU runs.
Good fast break.
Hill Jr. How about the chase from Jennings? He was the first one to touch. And VCU saves possession. Lewis dishes, and a Hill cut to the rim. Timeout called, and VCU erupts. Largest lead of the game, up 14. It is date night at the Robins Center here on Valentine's Day. VCU leads. VCU 19-6, 10-2 coming into this game. We look at their NCAA tournament resume. They are going to be familiar with that bubble term for quite a while here these next few weeks. That net just inside the top 50. Don't have a quad 1 win to this point, but they don't really have a loss that you're shake your head about.
No, they are right on the bubble, no doubt. And the thing that hurt them was Virginia Tech 2 days ago was a quad 1 win because they were 50 and they beat them on a neutral floor. The worst thing was Virginia Tech lost at home today to a Florida State team that's not very good. So they're going to drop even more in the net. I don't want to say that's as bad as if VCU lost today. It's not, but that was a kind of a loss for VCU before they even started playing.
Yeah, you're at the time of the year where you are watching schedules and other action to see what happens around college basketball that affects your resume. So VCU, though, still with opportunities ahead, though, for quad 1 wins. They have St. Louis and George Mason still to go.
Well, you think about TCU, for example. They beat Wisconsin earlier in the year, and they beat Florida earlier in the year, and both those teams have come on strong. So TCU, all of a sudden, has a pretty good chance to get in.
Another stellar defensive possession as Robinson lost it out of bounds. Blocking all windows and doors. VCU is only allowed 2 field goals.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 for 16 for Richmond in this game so far. So the VCU defense has definitely been the story of the game. They're only 1 for 8 from the three-point line. And they're playing pretty good defense, but they have not been able to get anything on offense.
Keyshawn Mitchell, another player who played for Phil Martelli Jr. at Bryant, is in for the Rams.
And he's been hurt a little bit, too.
Brandon Jennings, lefty release. Cash. 32-15. The red-hot Rams. VCU winners of 8 in a row. The second longest winning streak in the A-10. Tough dribble try. Jennings sends it away from Lopez. Just everything on this end is tough.
You take a look here how they were able to get this open 3 for Jennings. You're going to take a look. Stop it right there. When A.J. Lopez comes and gives too much help, you got to fake and recover. And he leaves Jennings wide open for the 3 there. Too much help.
Against a good shooting team.
You got to fake and recover at that guy. Trying to stop that dribbler by faking at him.
Well, if you need a clinic on how to do it right, VCU on this end has been doing that.
They have been. They have not been giving up drive. You know how hard it is to play against a team like that runs this Princeton stuff and pressure the perimeter and not give up layups? Usually it's one or the other, and VCU has done a great job of not allowing either one of those things.
Mitchell called for that foul. 10th on VCU, double bonus. First free throw miss. Richmond was 10 for 10 from the line. That's right, 10 of their 15 points here in this first half for Chris Mooney have come at the free throw line.
I mean, you think about that. We've played 14 minutes and they've got 2 baskets. At home yet.
Haven't had the chance for their fans in red to let out a yell. Can they do it here?
Getting up in transition would help a little bit because they've got to find a way to get something easy, because in the half court, they're not getting anything.
It's been over 10 minutes since Richmond has made a field goal. 10 minutes. Ball fake Beagle. Mitchell on him, hounds him. Jennings rotates over, slaps it away. And it's a travel call on Beagle. Tony Crisp blows the whistle and says turnover Richmond.
The quickness and the athleticism of VCU has been really noticeable in this first half.
I mean, this isn't one of those where a coach can diagram a play that you know will get a guy loose, right? Nothing's open.
They're not letting you. It's not like, you know, they're trying, but VCU's defense is so good, they're not allowing Richmond to get anything in the half court.
No
and like
doubt.
I said, Richmond's defense has not been bad.
Tracy releases. Argerbright's been all over the place on the glass.
Yeah,
Richmond needs that.
They got to attack in transition and try and find a way to get something without VCU all over them.
Backdoor cut, what this offense is based on. Robinson saved it from going out of bounds. Another deflection. This time it's Lewis who sends it to the sideline. There is a drought of epic proportions, over 11 minutes without a field goal. And you can see the offense was the breakout performance against George Mason last time out. The previous 6 all losses, it was certainly dry. Johnston, that ends it. And boy, that was a few steps beyond the line.
And you know what? If I'm VCU, I'm not upset at that. It's because you said it. It was way, way out. They cannot penetrate. You're not going to beat a team. Good move there by Terrence Hill. But you're not going to win against VCU shooting 26-footers like that. Will Johnston made that one, no question. He's a really good shooter. But tough to make a living doing that.
Hill's the first of double figures for VCU. He has 10. Right, if your only open looks you can get are from beyond 25 feet, good luck.
Exactly.
Well, Argerbright will head back to the free throw line, where he's 5 for 6 so far. Brandon Jennings is first.
Boy, this kid can get to the free throw line, I'll tell you.
You can also see how exhausted he is. The hands on the knees as he exhales when he gets the basketball. Yeah, it is tough against this defense. Phil Martelli Jr., last year the America East Coach of the Year. His Bryant team won the regular season and tournament championship. Started out as a full-time assistant coach at Central Connecticut State at 22 years old. Just 22.
Yep, right out of college.
Lewis knifes into the paint, and he falls to the ground. He was pushed. David Thomas was in the area for Richmond. Crowd doesn't like it, but Thomas gets called.
Chris Mooney didn't like it either.
He doesn't like much about this start. Now the dean of the A-10. Only with more in the conference's history of wins, John Chaney and Phil Martelli. Lewis, a 77% free throw shooter.
You know, VCU, they're in a tough spot because they're right there to get into the tournament. I mean, I look at them and I say, this is an NCAA tournament team from talent. You know, the numbers aren't great without that quad one, but they go to St. Louis. That's not going to be easy, but they can't slip up along the way. And they got it. If they want to get in for sure, winning that game in St. Louis is going to be big.
Next Friday. And that is one of the highlight games of this conference.
But not that this team isn't capable of winning the Atlantic 10 tournament, too. They certainly can.
But if you can get a resume boost like that, be the one to end that St. Louis winning streak.
That would be huge. But again, they can't slip up along the way.
A.J. Lopez.
That's one of the best looks that Richmond has gotten in the half court. And Lopez, normally a really good shooter.
Hill wanted a healthy three.
This kid is fast.
Zips with the ball and finds Lopez, who scoops with the right on the left side with 3:30 left.
I'll tell you, this kid Argenbright is a really talented kid. He pushed that thing up the floor so fast.
John Marshall High School in Richmond. One of a handful of Richmond guys in this game. Two schools in the city of Richmond, and Jadrian Tracy deposits two.
And Phil Martelli trying to get a timeout there. I'm not sure why with the media timeout coming. I mean, we know he's got to use it or lose it, but there's still 3 minutes to go.
6-11 on 6-11. Walls loves that fadeaway. That's his go-to shot. Tracy ball fake. Cuts inside. Right-handed bank shot. Yes, sir. And that time, the timeout for Phil Martelli Jr.
Jadrian Tracy. He can really score.
Phil Martelli Jr. and Chris Mooney, rivals on the court, the coaches of these two teams. But certainly friendly away from it, and especially when it comes to being a dad. And whether those coaches have sons who are teammates, Collegiate High School right here in Richmond. Yeah, Mooney's son Danny, who scored 41 points yesterday for Collegiate High School, and a loss to St. Christopher's. And of course, Phil Martelli's son Philip, a sophomore on that team as well, so they're both in attendance watching. Sure, bragging rights are a bit at stake, but yeah, they come together when it's game time. Yesterday, tough loss, but what a game for Danny Mooney.
Yeah, I mean, 41 points, and they were down 20. Phil Martelli Sr. was at the game, and he's here behind the bench, as he always is. And he was telling me they were down 23 in the game and cut it to 6 in a high school game in a quarter. That's pretty good.
So yeah, keeping up with your Martelli. So there's Phil Martelli Sr.
And his wife, Judy.
You guys had a great talk, as always, before VCU game.
That's like a regular thing now with us, you know what I mean?
You guys are, at this point, texting back and forth. You guys might be Valentine's.
Yeah, that's
right now. Phil Martelli Jr. on the sidelines, and Philip is the star at Collegiate High School. Walls with a three. It's off the front of the rim. Tracy climbs the ladder for the rebound.
And he's a 40% career three-point shooter, so, I mean, that was wide open.
Just 4 for 22 from the floor.
Tough shot.
And it goes!
Tough shot. Besides the fact that he got fouled.
You're going to play that guitar all night long, Hill.
He's a good player, this kid.
Give him a box of chocolate for that one.
Comes off behind the screen. They go underneath it. You cannot go underneath the screen with a guy who's a 40% three-point shooter, and that's what this kid is.
And then Walls, it's actually Thomas. They were both in the area. Thomas gets called for the foul. That's his second. Can't complete the 4-point play, but it's a 20-point lead.
And he's a great free throw shooter, too. See Djokovic switching out on Will Johnston there. Now Hill's got the big guy. They come and give him help. Really good recognition.
The running hook shot. That was old school from Johnston. I like watching 1980s basketball with a shot like that.
He made a 26-footer, which was a tough shot, and he made that another tough one.
Well, his one-legged shots, whether it's inside the arc or shot clock winding down, that's kind of his go-to. It was back when he was at Loyola Marymount. It was scoring like that. Cross-court pass on a dime. Noel can't get it to fall. It settles out of bounds. It'll go the other way. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Brent Stover, Chris Walker, Roy Hibbert, John Rothstein. That you caught up in the latest college basketball news and highlights. That's coming up on AT&T at the half. Last look at that Johnston running shot.
Soft touch off the glass there.
Jennings was called for the foul in the backcourt, which will send Mike Walls to the free throw line. Free throws 15 and 16 in the first half for Richmond. That's how they have made this a little bit closer than what it could have been. And they've only made 5 field goals in the game's first 18 and a half minutes.
And it's not because they're off, it's because they're being made to be off by VCU.
Hill has been working at setting screens. It's one of the things that the coaches have talked to him about. That's how you can get some good looks, is you be a good screener. Draw the attention of the defense. Tracy was bumped. No call, but no problem.
I used to tell my guys, Chris, the more screens you set, the more shots you get. Because people worry about the screener and they worry about the cutter and they forget about the screener. We always used to call the screener the forgotten man.
They talked to Hill about that and said, hey, look at Steph Curry and how he gets a lot of shots. He's one of the best screening guards in the NBA.
Absolutely.
Lopez, low release on his shot. And there's Hill Jr. climbing the ladder for the rebound. 18-point lead, about 4 seconds of separation between the two clocks. The fans who have made their way from downtown Richmond, where VCU is located, they make noise. Hill off a screen.
Too open. They got lucky on that one.
5 seconds. Johnston with speed, step-through move, and throws it out of bounds. With a half-second left, VCU ball. Just a complete first 20 minutes for VCU.
Oh, they teed up Mooney.
They did. Technical foul. Chris Mooney. It was Tim Kelly who went over to that Richmond sideline. Mooney upset about this. Thought his guard from Sydney, Australia was fouled.
He had a case.
And the Hill can tack on more. Game high 13 before that free throw, so it's 14 for Hill as Mooney continues to want an explanation. Yeah, usually relatively cool and calm on that sideline. It takes a lot to get Chris Mooney to get a technical foul.
Well, this has been a frustrating first half because his team has not been able to do anything really on the offensive end, and it's really cost them on the defensive end too.
Deflected away. Almost like a Hail Mary in football. And that does it for the first 20. Time now for the first half stats. They're brought to you by Sleep Number. And some very sleepy numbers for Richmond, especially offensively, in the first 20 minutes of this one. Here on Valentine's Day, a day to celebrate couples and partnerships. And Lap, I know you're without your usual broadcast partner, Andrew Catalan, who you've worked with, for over 10 years, more than 300 games together. So I didn't want to make you feel left out, and I wanted to at least make you my broadcast Valentine for this game. I know you're without your usual guy. So
you're a great, you're a good alternative.
Okay,
you're a great
I'll take it. That's sometimes the best I can
Are you happy with that?
I'll take you, the great number 2.
You're a tremendous alternative.
Well, all right.
Thank you very much.
We're having more fun together than Richmond's offense is having throughout this game. VCU's defense is locked down.
You're not kidding, Chris. It's been bad, and it's been because of the defense of VCU. I mean, 5 for 25 from the field. Richmond wasn't ahead, but this defense is so connected, so athletic. There are hands everywhere. They know when to help. They know when to fake and recover. And they have just made life miserable for Richmond in the half court. If Richmond's going to get back in this game, they're going to have to get out and transition a little bit more, which they like to do, and get something easier. On the other hand, if they can score a little bit, that will make VCU not, because VCU's been getting up and down in transition because of all these rebounds and turnovers. That's where they got to try and control the game by getting some offense.
We saw the frustration reach a fever point late in that first half when they issued a technical foul to Chris Mooney. Those were the last 2 points of the first half for VCU at the 20-point lead as we start half number 2. Mike Walls, quick three out of the break, short.
And that was good offense, and he's a good shooter. So that, I mean, it was deep. It was a little deep, but he's a 40% three-point shooter.
And the staff wants Walls to shoot more.
Not only that, if he can make one, it'll open up the floor a little bit because the big guys have to come out and guard him.
He's taking about 6 shots per game. The staff wants to see that number double down the stretch of the year.
He played very well against VCU in the first game.
Djokovic takes, Walls boards.
I guarantee you that Chris Mooney talked about pushing the tempo in the second half at halftime. Mismatch there. Tracy on Walls. See, Walls got to try to take Tracy on that.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Got to take advantage of it when it's there.
Well, they still get 3. Will Johnston. It took them forever to have a couple of field goals, it seemed like, in that first half. They only had 2 field goals in the first 11 minutes of half 1.
Well, that was pretty good ball movement, and Will Johnson, who's a very good shooter, was ready to take it.
Well, right in response, Nick Lewis wastes no time.
Yeah, this kid, I tell you, he's a really good player. He had a double-double in his last game, the point guard, with rebounds, 11 and 11 against LaSalle.
Terrence Hill for VCU getting the start to begin the second half, just like he did for just a second time in the first half. And he picks up the loose ball. Tracy stop and pop. Oh, yeah. Right in front of his bench.
They just got it all going.
You know, those 3 fingers covering the eyes, that's the celebration du jour for VCU here tonight. Walls rolls. Djokovic nearly sent it, but Walls did just enough to seal him off. Six points for Walls. That's his first field goal. A brilliant first 20 minutes for VCU. Looking to continue their 8-game winning streak. Hill. That one pops out. They shot that one from the sponsor logo on the floor. Johnston, second 3 of this second half. So Will Johnston crosses a double-digit mark. He has 11. That leads the way for Richmond. Blinding crossover. Hill, quick first step. Muscled it to the rim. Doesn't fall. Low pass. Lopez receives. Lopez thought about it. Shot clock down to 7. Walls in the post against Djokovic. 2 6'11" standouts. It's Walls with a hook shot.
That's what now he's being much more aggressive. He goes one-on-one in the post. They obviously are not doubling him because they're worried more about three-point shooters. That's a good move by Walls.
Tracy, no, and this is the best extended stretch of the game so far for Richmond.
But they've got to continue to push this tempo.
When you saw these teams meet 18 days ago, Richmond found something in the second half of that game after falling behind early. Tracy gets called for the foul in the post.
This is Waltz here going one-on-one in the post, and it makes a nice jump hook. They're not going to double him, so if they can get it to him down there, he's going to be able to work one-on-one.
Great size. But heads to the sidelines, takes a breather, and Jonathan Beagle replaces him. Senior from Hudson Falls, New York. 7 straight scored by the Spiders. Daughtry, gorgeous spin-off.
Wow, he's got to make that That's a good move, as you said, Chris. Got to make that.
Bounced off that back of the rim.
I mean, he comes in there, he's a lefty.
Technical foul. Another one issued, this time on VCU.
Looks like Jadrian Tracy, I think.
You called it. They get Tracy for the technical foul. So 7 in a row scored by Richmond, and now a chance at 2 more from the line. Got called for the foul right there. Didn't like it. And then said a little bit too much to Tim Kelly. Sometimes not just what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I guess with, you know, when he got with his arms, what's the word?
A little demonstrative.
Demonstrative.
You don't want to show up the officials, no matter what the sport. You can hear that more in baseball.
And,
show up the ump.
I also think, too, there's a piece of Tim Kelly teed Chris Mooney in the first half, so he's going to be a little bit more cognizant of not letting them get away with anything, too. You know what I mean? I think referees, a good ref, when he tees a coach, he knows it, and he'd rather not do it, but he doesn't.
Well, all of a sudden, Richmond making things a little disheveled for VCU. There's Coach Phil Martelli Jr. Well, Chris Mooney, you mentioned that energy coming out of halftime. You knew they'd try to push it, change things from what we saw in the first 20. Tracy commits another foul there, his 3rd.
And they've scored a little bit better in the half court since the second half started.
Argabright tiptoes, keeps the balance. Late shot clock. Johnson likes to operate late shot clock. Off balance jumper. Daughtry got it. It's not over. Jaden Daughtry fights for the right in a timeout called by VCU.
Interesting timeout.
Finally, something for this crowd to get engaged about. Richmond has scored the game's last 11.
Well, they've been really much more comfortable in the second half. VCU, not quite the same energy they had in the first half. A lot of times you get a 20-point lead. That's what happens. But give Richmond credit. Playing much more calm, executing in the half court, playing better defensively, and all of a sudden they were down 23, now they're down 12.
It was Richmond who took that last time out after the made bucket. They're on an 11-0 run. After a strong beginning to this game, VCU finally in their first run. Ward back in off the bench for Coach Martelli Jr.
Pretty good defense on this possession, too. Really good help by Daughtry.
Timed that help, but it results in a dunk. Ward, and sometimes you can play great defense for 28 seconds.
That was a great defensive set by Richmond there. They did everything right. The ball ends up in the wrong place. They give up deuce.
Looks like Jonathan Beagle might have been banged up on that last play, so the officials pause action as Beagle heads to the sideline. We'll step aside as well. They are CBS Sports Bracketology next 4 out. But right now the standard in the league is St. Louis. Coach Josh Schertzen, that brilliant offense.
I tell you, not only brilliant offense, but they have the biggest gap between defensive field goal percentage and offensive field goal percentage in the country. 17-point difference between those two. Michigan is second in that regard. Really good team both ways.
Yeah. More people familiar with Michigan's resume and the blowouts that they've had in their favor, but St. Louis doing similar things, and their only loss this season, by the way, right at the end against Stanford in a game that really St. Louis should have won.
It was a fluke loss, exactly.
Djokovic wide pass out of the reach of Bell.
Oh no, they were that close to being undefeated.
It's really the best season for any Atlantic 10 team since that year Dayton had a few back with Obi Toppin.
COVID year, never got a chance to play in the tournament. That was probably the best team Dayton has had in a long time. They've had a lot of good teams, but that was a great team.
It was them in like San Diego State that year.
Yep.
That's just like great years. You couldn't wait to see what they do in March. Argabright tried to keep it away from the big. And here comes VCU with Bell. St. Louis and VCU did play earlier on this season at the Siegel Center. St. Louis won that one.
Great
Bell,
cut.
with as you said it, Coach, tremendous cut. Michael Bell in off the bench from London. We have Bell, Noel, Ward, key reserves for Coach Martelli Jr., a deep team. Daughtry, an air ball. Jennings lobs, but a step in front of Bell and out of bounds.
You're going to take a look here. This is a great cut.
And Michael Bell, really known as the chess piece off the bench. Put him in, defends multiple positions, fills a lot of different roles. And that time cut. Well, speaking of cuts,
Another good cut.
Colin Tanner on the receiving end. Djokovic, 14 points per game, the big man for VCU. Second on the team in scoring behind Hill Jr., who usually comes in off the bench, started this game for just the second time this season. Ball fake from Walls. Time. Season high 16 points in the win against George Mason, and all that work came in the first half of that game. Not much movement here, so it has to be Johnston to the rack.
Yeah, tough shot there.
Hill puts on the brakes, keeps the defender on his back. See a lot of guards working on that. Trap dribble. Jennings with the reach of Time. Time gets called for his third foul.
You take a look at this last back cut here. You're going to see a nice brush screen here by Walt. He's going to make a nice brush screen. And look at how open the middle is. Very easy. Once you get that nice screen, you can't get anything but a layup.
It's one of those where you just want to make sure you catch it. You're that open. Make sure you nail the easy part. Trying to feed Djokovic. Jalen Robinson fronted him to deflect that away.
Another cut.
And Robinson off the glass. Tumbles to the deck, doesn't matter.
Now that Princeton offense, those last two possessions, that was what you call Princeton offense, getting those back cuts to the basket.
Richmond was down 20 at half. Bell rebounds the Jennings miss. Defender falls, and Bell, you ring it.
Yeah, Johnson had a pretty good box out on him, but he just, Bell was just too big.
4 points for Bell.
They got to get this thing under 10.
Johnston Rambo, his third three of half two. Will the Thrill trying to bring back the Spiders.
That's a foul.
Bell, full extension, tap back, no. Djokovic, a third chance.
I thought there were a couple of fouls there.
There's again Hill keeping the defender on his back through the screen and roll. Crowd wanted to travel. Johnston can't save it, but it's out of bounds. Last touch by VCU. And of course, you coached in the Philadelphia Big Five at Villanova, so you know about playing the school down the road and how much that means.
They were a pain in the neck playing those games, I'll tell you. But you know something? We drove here. It seemed like it was more than 6 miles. Are you kidding me? I'm like 6 miles.
Right. It wasn't even that much
20
traffic.
minutes to get here.
And there wasn't many stops.
Yeah, I
had to make sure we got your coffee.
We did get all right, but it still took us 20 minutes to get to the Starbucks, which is right here.
Yeah, it's a long road. It's down the road, but just maybe a little longer road than you would think.
Yeah.
Second meeting this season. VCU won at the Siegel Center. And in a similar way, got out to a big lead first half. Richmond tried to claw back. Walls!
Oh, he's got to finish that. Good offense, too, there.
Well, where did that gear come from?
They moved the ball so quickly on that possession, which allowed Walls to really get a step on his guy. Did a great job moving that thing. That's a foul.
What do you see there? You did see the contact, so Bell commits his third. There, Walls. It's nice to have a big who can shoot it a bit. At the line, he's 66%. Although that might be underselling the capability of him as a shooter. He's crossed the double-digit mark. And the lead is single digits. First time it's been a single-digit game since the 8-minute-to-go mark of the first half. That was a wayward pass, but it still somehow ends up in Evans' hands.
I like Richmond's defense right now, too.
Tracy hounded. Shot clock at 3. Double team. Jennings gets rid of it. Bell. Richmond, the mic is yours.
That was a great defensive possession. Switching everything on the perimeter, not allowing any dribble penetration. I think now's the time to bring Djokovic back in the game because they need something in the low post because what Richmond is pushing them way out right now.
It has been a different ball game in the second half. Daughtry cuts, deep seal on Evans, goes reverse. It is down to 7 with 9:50 left.
It was 23 not that long ago. Good switch there.
In and out from Tracy. There's Walls. How about the swing of the elbows? Gets this crowd to war. Argabright is fouled en route to the hoop. And he will head to the free throw line. A chance to cut it to 5.
The Richmond defense in the second half has been a tremendous difference in this game. They have aggressively switched everything. And right now, VCU just playing with all perimeter players. They don't have a big guy in the game. I think it's a good time for Djokovic to come back in because they could use something in the low post now because all they're doing is passing it on the perimeter.
And it's not a foul issue for Djokovic. He has just one. Getting a break. And
we said it so many times, Argabright, when this guy gets out in transition, he is so fast with the ball.
Like a little pocket of dynamite for small guard U. There's been so many guards, 6 foot or smaller for Richmond over the years. As you see Djokovic, who's a big. Yeah, the regionality of this game starting to show.
Yeah, I mean, I think not having a post presence on offense with VCU is hurting them now. All these switches, they're doing very effectively, Richmond.
Oh, that pivot foot slid.
That was a travel.
And they catch it on the baseline. That's a great job. Even though it's not your spot to blow the whistle, you saw that pivot foot slide.
100%. But right now, this aggressive switching defense has been really effective for Richmond.
Down as many as 23. Now at 5.
Thinking of updating my kitchen.
Yeah?
Yes. This year, we are finally updating our kitchen. Doing subway tile and an ivory or eggshell. Cream, maybe bone. Don't get me started on quartz. Big island. You ever heard of a waterfall?
For everyone who talks about doing that thing,
and over there,
but never does that thing,
sweet little breakfast nook.
Chase has financial guidance.
See how you can start saving to make this happen.
Really?
Really?
Really.
At home or in person.
You could also check out a Chase Money Skills workshop.
That's guidance from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Phil Martelli Jr. frustrated, but VCU will be back on CBS Sports Network against George Washington. That on Tuesday, 8 Eastern. George Washington, VCU, and Lappy will be there for that one. Luke Hunger as George Washington. How about what they did to George Mason? Getting a huge win there, and Hunger put up 31. This game is flipped. 9-0 run for Richmond. Quick first step and a finger roll. A.J. Lopez.
No help anywhere to be found defensively, and now that pressure for VCU is not there.
Hill needs it. Lewis rebounds. Shakes through the double team, nearly intercepted. Lopez in the passing lane. Djokovic, pump fakes.
They need to get him in there and get him to the foul line or something.
Nearly picked in the lane, saved, but a push. Lewis hit the ground, and they get Argabright for the foul.
Watch A.J. Lopez here. Right here, the whole middle is open. Where's the help? They throw it to A.J. Lopez, and nobody even at the last second. Jennings looks like he came over, or Hill, I'm not sure who it was. But no, help's not there.
The official, Tony Crisp, was in best help position there. Hill.
That's a foul.
And yeah, got it, and Daughtry knew it. The proud guy from Richmond, Jaden Daughtry, his third.
Yeah, they had done such a good job of containing those drives with those switches. That time, Daughtry got a little bit too aggressive. He's got to contain the dribbler.
A chance to end what is currently an 11-0 run. Best free throw shooter on the team at 87%. Walls out. Beal in. Djokovic, of course, in for VCU. He's been the road joker for the Rams, putting up nearly 20 points per game in road games. So far, his scoring has been in check. That's Hill's first points of half two.
And now Beagle's in the game for Walls. That's a completely different center. He doesn't shoot any threes, so they're not going to guard him on the perimeter.
Lopez, ready.
He's
He
tough.
has slow start to this game, Coach.
And he is one guy that can create his own shot, as you saw there.
Third Spider in double figures. He has 10.
Johnston's on Djokovic.
All the rotations on defense. They draw the foul, which leads to a stop. 10 points have come since the break, where Richmond is outscoring VCU 31-14 here in this second half. Trailed by as many as 23. 20 points have been wiped off, the largest Phil Martelli Jr. lead. The intensity of this game has been there from the beginning. Chris Mooney's gotten a technical for Richmond. Jadrian Tracy had a technical foul for VCU. If you're just joining us, where have you been? This has been a good one. Hill feeds. Shot clock at 3. Has to be Lewis. Cashes.
Yeah, that time, couple of miscommunications by Richmond left Lewis open. That's one of the better looks that they got against this Richmond defense in the last 5-6 minutes.
Not one of their best shooters, but he's hit 2 key threes in this game.
So this kid is going to be a heck of a player.
Johnston weaves. Yeah, that floater looks short from the very beginning. Bell falls, and Richmond, it's their 15th foul.
But you're going to see, Argabright goes to Djokovic. Nobody stays on Nick Lewis. And granted, Nick Lewis is not a great three-point shooter, but he is a capable guy. He can make them.
Second leading freshman scorer in the Atlantic 10. Argabright on the other side leads.
This is a big possession defense. Well,
right
there you go.
They heard you.
They listened.
Wish the guys always listened to you that well.
Yeah, I wish my teams did.
Might not be calling this game with you.
That's right. no kidding.
Beagle off the glass. Back to a 4-point game. Went to the bench a few minutes ago with a banged up finger, but he's back. You can see it taped up on his right hand.
Boy, they left Hill open there.
Got away with it. Lopez.
He's going to attack.
He does. He wins. 2-point game. Welcome to the Capital City Classic.
I mean, I think they need to try and get Djokovic more involved here, but in the low post area. And he's not posting up at all.
That was a bold three for Evans, who's just a 31% three-point shooter. Lopez can give the team a lead with a three. Instead of mid-range, off the front rim. Richmond has never led. Bell flicks. Oh, it goes!
They fell asleep in transition that time defensively and didn't pick him up fast enough. That was really a slip-up by Richmond.
That's the third VCU basket that has had 3 bounces on the rim. Incredible. Johnston with that flow. Step back for 3. That would have been his 4th of the second half. He has been the igniting force for Richmond to get back in it. No ties, no lead changes. Game been all VCU until this Richmond push. Wrapping around the back of Djokovic, Beagle.
I don't know. They're going to make that a flagrant 1? They may look at that. Yeah, they're going to look at it.
Oh, they're talking too. We'll take a look. No play on the ball.
No, that could be a flagrant 1.
Unnecessary.
Definitely unnecessary. Yeah, you see it. Djokovic right away circled his finger like, hey, they got to look at that one. But look what happened. They finally get the ball in the lane to Djokovic, and something good happened. They haven't had a post presence really this whole half. And they have a guy who can play down there. Yeah, I think that's going to be a 1.
So initially, we're told double technicals on both bigs. Right there, Beagle and Djokovic. And then they will take a look to see if that foul warrants an upgrade to a flagrant. They were talking, as we were showing the replay, they were going back and forth a little bit and had to be separated by teammates. Right here, you can take a look.
Yeah.
So those words might have yielded the technical.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up being a flagrant 1, which means it'll be VCU 2 shots and the ball.
In our description, we brought up the word unnecessary, excessive in nature. I think if you ask Djokovic, that was certainly excessive.
I'd say it's excessive and unnecessary. But it'll be interesting.
And I just need to tee you up. Nothing that would get you to think flagrant 2 there.
No,
right?
no.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Now, if he had pulled him to the floor or something, but he didn't. He wanted to keep him up.
After review, we have a flagrant 1 on the play. 17 with two shots, and then VCU will have the ball underneath with 20 on the shot clock.
Heard that announcement with our ref mic. And then Tim Kelly comes over to us to give us a further explanation. But yes, he upgraded it to a flagrant 1. So 2 free throws coming up for Djokovic, and VCU will keep the ball. Big swing here, 4:35 to go.
And my man Tim Kelly said, and it was pretty obvious, and I have to agree with him, it was a pretty obvious one.
He gave you the extra color.
He gave me the extra, he gave me a little extra. I played golf with Tim Kelly a couple of times, so, you know, he gave me a little extra there.
Do I need to ask for a scouting report? What would you say about his
He's a better
game?
player than me, that's for sure.
That never stops you, though. I know you at this point. Djokovic, 76%. Have players ever told you it's different shooting free throws when there's nobody lined up around it?
Players don't know. No. It is. You're right. It is. But they've never talked about it.
Now here at Richmond, they call free throws in the second half for the opposing team foul shots. F-O-W-L, because if you miss 2 in a row, chicken wings.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, chicken wings for the folks in attendance. So to recap it there, double technicals and then a flagrant. Part of that action.
So Beagle picked up 2 fouls on that play.
Lewis hops around the defense. What a move.
What a great move.
So that sequence, a free throw, then a bucket, so they get 3 to build their lead to 7 with just over 4 to play.
Yeah, that was Beagle. That was a tough play. You could have fouled him there without having to do all that and not allow him to score.
Late shot clock again. Johnston.
Oh,
excellent!
wow.
A dazzling display, and then the jelly on top. It's been heated. 4 technicals, 1 flagrant, and a VCU 5-point lead in February as they'll take on Memphis.
Yeah, that's an interesting game in February.
Exactly. It was maybe supposed to be a little bit more of a valuable game for Utah State Memphis, though.
Yeah,
It's had a rough go.
I think that was the thinking.
Yeah.
Obviously, Memphis has not had a good year.
Will Johnston, circus layup before the break, fell in. So he has a chance to complete a 3-point play. His scoring down, a career low in points per game. But he has been big time in this second half. Team high 16 points. They get 17, and it's back to a 4-point contest.
And now some pressure from Richmond.
Tracy attacks the closeout, draws the help of the big and Walls. So a size disadvantage. He doesn't care, but misses.
Yeah, he needs to give that up. He had the 6'11" guy on him.
A chance to cut it back to a 1-possession game. If you're just joining us, VCU led by as many as 23. Richmond has never led.
Good curl cut there by Lopez.
He usually makes those in the mid-range. VCU located in downtown Richmond. Richmond on the west end, separated by less than 6 miles, and right now separated by 4 points. Lewis. The crowd lets out a yell as Walls pulls in another rebound.
He got a pretty good look there, threw it across the court. He was open.
10 points and 8 rebounds for Walls.
They got to keep moving it the way they have because they've been getting good looks. Another layup.
The lane opens up again. Tip back doesn't drop, but a foul. So it was Tanner, who's always hunting. That's his role in the starting lineup. He had the read, and Lewis disappointed.
I tell you, Johnston had himself another layup here. Surprised that he missed that. And Tanner does a good job of following it up.
Djokovic right there, the foul is 3rd. That long tail. My brother Cedric had a long tail at the
is that right?
when he was a kid. Like, we were talking 6, 7 years old. Short on the free throw from Tanner.
21 for 22 from the foul line before that miss. Richmond.
The free throw line kept them somewhat alive in the first half.
No doubt.
Chris Moody's team is giving the effort, but those are 2 big misses.
Those are 2 big misses.
Again, for a 78% free throw shooter.
And they weren't close.
Timeout. Djokovic was cut off. VCU still has 1 more timeout
Their best
left.
3-point shooter normally, but he's shown an ability to get to the basket too in this game.
12 points in the second half. Moved from Australia in high school to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Loyola Marymount after junior college. Led the team in assisted threes last year, was a team captain. He's shown that fight here tonight. Out of the timeout,
Wide
you leave open Hill, who's a sharpshooter. How do you miss that?
That is a huge, huge mistake.
And of course, Hill Jr. does not miss. He's a 40% three-point shooter at high volume. Lopez stumbles to the deck. He was pushed. Brandon Jennings. Team foul 9, so the 1-and-1 coming up for Lopez, who's an 87% free throw shooter.
Well, you take a look at this replay here. Argabright, number 3, just leaves his man. Now, he thought he had the help on the cutter, but you cannot leave that man alone at this time especially.
Yeah, he's the guy who wears the, you know, in the scout practice, he's the guy in the bright red. Like, you can't leave him open at all times.
You might leave anybody else alone,
Yes.
but not him.
That foul was on Jennings, his 4th personal.
That was a bad miscommunication there. That was a freshman mistake.
Jennings joins Bell as VCU players with 4 fouls. Lopez hits both. Offense, defense from Chris Mooney. Daughtry comes out and Tanner comes in.
Yeah, I mean, you have to say to yourself, I mean, like, the one guy who's a knockdown three-point shooter is Hill. He's the only one that's a knockdown three-point shooter. The other guys can make them, but not like him.
Djokovic screens. Jennings yo-yos. Gets it back, has the center on him, takes him right to the rim. That's what you do when you have a big on you. Big time Brandon Jennings.
Great recognition by Jennings, knowing he's got the big guy on him. He's going to take him to the basket, and that's what he did.
5 points for Jennings. Opposite side, it's sent away. Lopez.
We got a foul.
Had it blocked by Djokovic.
I would foul now. You can play it out, but
a 7-point game under a minute left.
7-point game, I'd have fouled. 5, I wouldn't. 7, I would.
3-possession game. And there's the foul. You don't want it then with just 9 on the shot clock.
Exactly. When it gets down to that point, you don't want to do it. And you foul an 86% free throw shooter.
And it's Jennings' 5th. Check that. Jennings to the bucket right here.
Yeah, I mean, Jennings is an 86% free throw shooter. Great block there.
Yeah, Jennings to the line, 86%. That foul was on Argabright, his 4th.
Yeah, you don't want to foul. Once it gets down to 9, you got to just let it, you got to play it out. Otherwise, either you got to foul right away or play it out. Can't go in no man's land.
Front end is perfect. Coach Martelli's team had a 23-point lead early in the second half. Was cut to 1 possession on a couple of occasions. But his team has continued to play with a lead throughout. For those of you tuning in for the Memphis-Utah State game, you'll be able to find it streaming free on the CBS Sports app or cbssports.com/CBSSN. As soon as it tips off, we'll get you out there immediately after this one is done. Richmond can't convert. VCU 36 seconds away from their 9th straight win.
Yeah, just doing whatever they had to do here. You got to give them credit. They made big plays, made shots, big shots. And a couple of great defensive plays, too, made the difference.
Found the right guy, just a 50% free throw shooter, but a 9-point game, 36 seconds left. Front end. It was Evans at shoot-around earlier on today at VCU, who was the last one in the gym, working on 3s and free throws. Has that lefty release. Almost got his own board.
You don't want to foul here.
Lopez.
You got to quote.
Bell rebounds. He's fouled by Johnston, and that should do it. With 26.8 left, VCU will continue the 2nd longest winning streak in the Atlantic 10. Carry that VCU chant 6 miles down the road. Upcoming, you'll be on hand for the next one. That game against George Washington here on CBS Sports Network.
And George Washington's been kind of a weird team this year. They have some really good wins and then they have some perplexing losses. But they're talented and are probably going to give VCU all they want.
And that St. Louis game, I'm sure the VCU fans circling that one. Have one more test before that Friday night affair. Final miss for Richmond. Boy, did they fight in the second half. Erasing 21 points off the largest deficit. But VCU has the finishing kick at the Capital City Classic. They defeat Richmond 78-67.